90% of beginner investors lose money to the exact same 5 mistakes. Not bad luck, not a bad stock pick. The same 5 mistakes, over and over again, across millions of people who have never even met each other. And if you've ever opened your portfolio, seen red, and panic sold right there on the spot, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Or maybe you held on to a stock that was clearly tanking, just hoping it would magically turn around, while it kept dropping every single week. Here's the crazy part, none of that happened because you're bad with money. It happened because nobody ever showed you these 5 traps before you fell into them. Today, that changes. I'm breaking down exactly what they are, and exactly how to avoid every single one. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1, this is the foundation. Everything else on this list connects back to this. Most people assume the stock market is what decides whether they make or lose money. It's not. The market has an average return. It's measurable. It's public information. Anyone can go get it. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. The average investor doesn't actually get that return. They get less, year after year, across millions of people. Not because the market shorted them, because they shorted themselves. They sell when it drops. They buy back in once it feels safe again, which is usually after it's already gone back up. They chase, they react, they flinch, and every flinch costs money. The market rewards exactly one thing: staying in it. That's the entire secret. Not timing, not picking, just staying. And the next mistake is going to show you exactly why staying put is so much harder than it sounds, even for people who genuinely know better. Mistake number 2, and this is exactly why staying put is so hard, even when people know it's the right move. It's called loss aversion, and here's what it actually means. Losing money does not feel like the opposite of gaining money. It feels way worse. Researchers have actually measured this. Losing $100 hurts roughly twice as much, emotionally, as gaining $100 feels good. Same amount, completely different impact on you. And that one fact explains so much beginner behavior. It's why people hold on to a stock that's clearly falling, refusing to sell, telling themselves it'll bounce back eventually. They're not actually being patient. They're avoiding the pain of admitting the loss is real. And it's also why people do the exact opposite with their winners. The second a stock goes up a little, they sell, lock in the gain, feel good, move on, which means most beginners end up doing the exact opposite of what actually builds wealth. They hold their losers far too long, and they sell their winners way too early, backwards, completely backwards. The fix isn't complicated, but it is uncomfortable. You have to judge an investment based on what it's likely to do next, not on what you paid for it, and not on how admitting a loss makes you feel. But this next mistake takes loss aversion and turns it into something even more specific, something tied to one number that almost every beginner gets stuck on without even realizing it. Mistake number 3, and this is the specific number I just mentioned, the price you paid. It's called anchoring, and it quietly controls more decisions than people realize. Here's how it works. The moment you buy a stock at, say, $50, that number gets stuck in your head. $50 becomes the line, the reference point, the number everything else gets measured against. If the stock drops to 40, you don't think, is this still a good investment? You think, I need it to get back to 50 so I don't lose money. If it climbs to 60, you don't think, should I keep holding this? You think, I'm up $10, let me lock that in. Either way, your decision isn't actually about the investment anymore. It's about a number you happen to buy at. A number the company has no idea even exists. The business doesn't care what you paid. The market doesn't care what you paid. Only you care, and that's exactly the problem. Because the only question that should ever matter is, knowing everything you know right now, would you buy this investment today at today's price? Not, can I get back to even? Not, should I lock in this gain? Just, is this still a good investment today? Your purchase price is not information, it's an emotional anchor, and anchors are designed to keep things from moving. Now, here's mistake number 4, and this one isn't really about you at all. It's about everyone around you, and why following the crowd feels so safe, right when it's actually the most dangerous. Mistake number 4, following the crowd into a hot stock, because it feels safe. Here's how this usually plays out. Everyone's talking about the same stock. It's all over social media. Your group chat is bringing it up. People are posting screenshots of their gains. And it feels like, if this many people are excited about it, it must be a good move. That feeling has a name. It's called herding, and it's one of the oldest traps in investing. Here's the problem with it. By the time a stock is famous enough for everyone to be talking about it, it has usually already made its big move. The huge gains already happened. What you're seeing isn't the opportunity, it's the aftermath. but it doesn't feel that way in the moment. In the moment, it feels like you're finally in on something, like you found it before it's too late. And once you buy in, something else kicks in. You start looking for reasons. You made the right choice. Good news about the stock suddenly stands out to you. Bad news gets brushed aside or ignored completely. That's not bias making you stupid. That's just how the brain protects a decision it already made. The problem is, the stock doesn't care what you believe about it. It just does what it does. And a lot of the time, by the time everyone agrees it's a good investment, the easy money is already gone. Real opportunities rarely look exciting and obvious to a crowd. They usually look quiet, a little boring, and completely ignored. And now, mistake number 5, the last one. And honestly, this is the one that ties every single mistake on this list together. Mistake number 5, and this is the one that explains why the other 4 even happen in the first place. Most beginners invest without ever deciding in advance what they're actually trying to do. No real time horizon, no real risk tolerance, no answer to the simple question, why am I investing this money, and what happens if it drops? And here's why that's so dangerous. Without a plan, every single decision gets made in the moment, which means every decision gets made emotionally, under pressure, while the market is moving and your heart rate is climbing. That's exactly when the behavior gap shows up. That's exactly when loss aversion kicks in. That's exactly when you anchor to a price, or chase a crowd, into a stock everyone's talking about. All 4 of those mistakes, they don't happen randomly. They happen in the gap, where a real decision should have already been made, calmly, in advance, before emotions were even involved. Here's the fix. Before you invest a single dollar, answer 3 questions for yourself. How long can this money stay invested without me needing it back? How would I actually feel if this dropped 30% tomorrow? And what is the actual reason I'm doing this? Not someone else's reason, yours. Answer those 3 questions once, clearly, and you've just removed the moment where all 4 other mistakes live, because the version of you who decides calmly today, in advance, will always make better choices than the version of you reacting in the middle of a market drop 6 months from now. That's the real difference between people who build wealth and people who keep almost building it. Not intelligence, not luck, just a decision made early enough that emotion never got the final word. Let's take a second. You came into this video thinking maybe you just had bad luck, or you weren't cut out for this. Now, you know the truth. 90% of beginners fall into the exact same 5 traps: the behavior gap, loss aversion, anchoring, hurting, and investing with no real plan. Not because they're bad with money, because nobody ever pointed these out before. You just did what most people never do. You can actually see them now. And here's the thing about understanding this stuff. Once you see one pattern clearly, you start noticing how many other patterns are out there, quietly running the show, in places you never even expected. That's exactly where we're headed next, week after week. Pulling back the curtain on the stuff nobody explains, in plain English. So tell me, out of these 5, which one hit closest to home for you? Drop it in the comments. And if you've ever caught yourself doing one of these without realizing it until just now, let me know that too. I actually read these. If this video gave you something real today, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. I'll see you Tuesday. Quick note before you go, the behavioral patterns discussed in this video, including loss aversion, anchoring, and hurting, are based on established behavioral finance research, but this video is for informational and educational purposes only, and reflects my own personal perspective. This is not financial or psychological advice. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Always do your own research, and consult a licensed financial professional before making any investment decisions. Your money, your choices, always. And as so